GOVIEX Uranium, African-focused uranium and development company. This is our Madaouela project in Niger, which gives you a sense of the lack of environment we have to deal with here. No people on our property and pretty barren, but in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Cautionary statements, probably make some forward-looking statements, so you can pick that up on our website. Sorry, it's very, very small. We are African-focused. We're very much targeted on the development of our projects. We focus on the two primary projects that we have, the Madaouela project that is fully mine permitted. Feasibility study was finished on that last year, priced in the middle of the year. That one we're currently working on the financing for it. We then have the Matanga project that's also mine permitted. We're currently in the process of getting the bankable feasibility study on that one done. We do have an exploration project called Falais. We have a lot of exploration on all of our properties, but that one is purely exploration. It has 30 million pounds. It used to be the old Rockgate, but it's actually under a transaction at the moment. We're selling it to a different company that presented yesterday, Africa Energy Materials, in exchange for shares. So we'll still hold upside in it. We just won't have to pay for it going forward. We love the market, where it's going. You've had enough presentations on the market, so I'll skip through most of that today. But its timing is perfect for us. When we're talking to the off-takers, most of the utilities have got big gaps in their books from 2025, 26, 27 onwards. That's exactly the point we're looking to come into production of where we are. Really large mineral resource, but we stopped drilling back in 2013. Our last drill turned then for an exploration point of view because we already have long life projects, so no point in making them even longer from a net present value perspective. We like Africa. It's mining friendly, particularly all the jurisdictions we're in are very mining jurisdictions. Niger is currently the 5th largest uranium producing nation. 24% of all the uranium supplied into Europe last year came out of Niger. So it is very much part of the uranium sizing. It used to be the 4th before Namibia overtook it with the development of the Huseb mine. Mining code has hardly changed in years. It's very much focused on mining. Zambia, obviously, copper country, very much focused on developing its industry now. The government in Zambia is trying to go from 800,000 tons of copper up to 3 million tons of copper, with a focus on all of the associated ministries, so logistics, roads, power, education. The whole country has a government backing on focusing on mining and building out mining in Zambia, so very positive for us. I'll just jump through the market. I'm sure David's done that as well, very well yesterday. And go on to Madaouela. Madaouela is situated right next to the Cominac and Somayer mines that were started operating in the early 1970s. Cominac finally closed down 2021. Beginning of, so that's gone. Somayer is still operating and will operate well into the next decade. But what it brings in is a lot of infrastructure. There's power, we have water. We hit water 40 meters below the surface in almost every single drill hole. A lot of aquifers around us. People, we have the 2 mines next door. We focus very much on local employment of what we do as well, and we even treat that as local employment as well. So a lot of focus employing directly around what we do. We have all our permits. We have the government as an investor as well. We did a lot of work on ESG on this one as well, because one thing you have to remember when you're going out on debt and offtake, all of the debt providers want strong ESG positioning, otherwise you won't get your debt. And that's why when we did our environmental, we did it to a full IFC standard. We're doing a lot of the work at the moment of getting all our systems into place as well, so we can move from being an explorer to being a developer. Also, we're finding an increasing number of off-takers are demanding environmental and ESG site visits before they'll sign contracts as well. So that's becoming a greater part of the industry as we go forward. So that is why we looked at other aspects of this, particularly on employment and procurement. We looked at bringing in solar. We got about 26% of our energy coming from solar. Surprisingly lower than I thought it was going to be, considering we're in the middle of the Sahara Desert. You would have thought it'd be a lot better than that. But that's the function of solar energy. It's only available for short periods of time. Did a lot of work on water, reducing our water consumption. We halved it from our PFS. A lot of work on tailings dam as well to improve our quality there. The result of what we got was $140 million MPV and an IRR at 13% at 65. This does not really recognize this project. This is a 20-year mine life. You know, as Robert Friedland's been banging on about Kamoa, you know, if you go past 10 years, you're getting everything else for free. The reality is this thing produces $83 million a year of EBITDA. It easily covers its debt position on that basis, and that's where we are at the moment. We've appointed Endeavour Financial last year to effectively go out and start working on the debt. We had 20 companies after stage one have filtered out whether they don't like Niger or Mali and left with the 20. Those guys are currently in the data room at the moment. We are waiting probably this month to pull out a list of the companies that are signing up the LOIs. That means they're accepting our in-principle terms of what we're looking for. They want to go into the full banking side of this on the term sheet. So that's the next big stage for us on this. Chris Lewis, our uranium marketing guy who's at the back, has been very aggressive out there, teaching everybody in the market about who we are, what we do, how we operate. We're working hand in glove with the off-takers simply from the point of view that they have got to be in line with where the debt is. You give me really short time, eh? So those guys are going to work, and we haven't aggressively pushed on the offtake yet because we need to make sure that the offtake knows where the financing is coming from, and that's been very much part of that conversation, but we've had really good feedback from the off-takers as we go forward. We then have the Matanga project. This is fully mine permitted. It is a very, very robust project. It's a combination of two projects that we put together. It is a very simple open pit heap leaching operation, benefits from very, very low strip ratios, but more importantly, exceedingly low acid consumption. To put that into context, the Orano mines consume about 100 to 120 kilos of acid for every ton of rock. We halved that down to 50 kg a ton for Madabuela by changing the process route. This is less than 9 kg a ton. In a country that produces acid, a lot of it out of the copper belt. So it is really strong. The MPV and IRR of this are really healthy. The royalty rate has actually dropped since we did the PEA on this. We are currently rerunning the environmental because between when it was permitted and where it is now, the resource has been doubled, so we have to kind of go through that process. By this time next year, we'd be looking to be very close to the completion of the FS on that one. We'll then move this through into the financing stage. The Falea project, just very briefly, is a very interesting polymetallic uranium deposit in Mali. We've done a lot of work on it. It had a 30 million pound resource when we got it. We've done a lot of work on IP, showing where the exploration needs to go. There's a strong correlation between the copper and the uranium. We now can track the copper through IP. Therefore, the new guys going in can chase that and find additional pounds on this one. Looks really interesting. As I said, solid commitment on ESG. We've done a lot of work this last year, really just getting ourselves in so that we as a management team and as an operating team can go from being an explorer to being a producer. Getting ourselves ISO accredited. There we go. Don't panic. So, okay. From a transactional point of view, slightly dated slide, we raised $10 million Canadian at the end of last year. We have paid down the debt that was on there to the Nigerian government, so that is gone. So we are pretty healthy still going forward. Of the non-insider shares, the others, MMCAP are sitting there with about 15%. We're in all of the ETFs and all of the uranium funds. Do you think they don't want my presentation to happen? Oh, give me a break, dudes. All right, yeah, so well structured from that point of view. We are liquid. The valuation is really where we're sitting. We're sitting at about 30 cents a pound in the ground. If you look at our other African peers like Bannerman, Forces, they're 60 cents. This does not make sense, particularly when you look at the split in value between Zambia. You're effectively getting Zambia for free here, totally, as a project. People do not recognize that Zambia is actually the stronger of the two projects. In the previous cycles, the value retention has been going from developer to being a producer, and we're very much on that path. We're permitted, we're already doing the debt, we've got robust projects. More importantly, we have 2 projects. Most of our peers have only got 1 project, and a lot of them are very short life projects. These are long life projects with a lot of exploration upside to take us to the next stage. If you looked at the very last uranium cycle, most of the value return came from acquisitions, and most of those acquisitions were African takeouts. So interesting stories. Market looks great. As I said to you, we're looking at the off-takers, talking to them. They're looking, positioning right where we are.
The fire department has instructed the hotel to reset the fire system, and there's no further action on your part. All operations and services have been restored to normal. Thank you for your patience and cooperation. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The fire department has instructed the hotel to reset the fire system, and there's no further action on your part. All operations and services have been restored to normal. Thank you for your patience and cooperation. Have a great day.
Thank you. There we go. Oh, this has been fun. Nothing else. Yeah, so management put a very strong development management here. We have people like Benoit Lassalle, who's built up Semafo initially, SRG, Samara, Aya Gold and Silver on our board. Govin Friedland, who's the founder, a lady called Salma Serreto. She used to be one of the bankers that did the Paladin financings, the long background there. David Cates of Denison. So strong board, very much focused on development. Large exploration ground, but a lot of pounds already in the ground. These are robust projects and already focusing on getting ourselves to production. Thank you.